Hello, Qembek here. Today I want to show you some of my previous recordings. I'm above level 50 right now, but I wanted to share with my build because some of you asked about Defiler, how I build it and why. Before I begin and explain my build piece by piece, I want to mention that I'm not a professional PvPer or something. This is my PvE build, and this build worked pretty well in those PvP situations I've had, so maybe it will be good for you as well for PvPing. I think it's good only for early stage, early game, when you are focusing on using items that you receive as a reward, equipment items, like you get magic dealing weapon which is two-handed, and finding scepter is difficult early game, so just forget about it and use two-handed weapon instead, and forget about the shield as well until you reach level 50, then you want to respec. Okay, but right now we are discussing level 30 something. You want to build Defiler, so here we go. Let's begin with skill explanation. I will focus on describing those skills as they appear on my shortcut bar, and then we proceed to another portion of skills, mostly passives that you cannot see here. First and main source of damage for me is mana stars. I enjoy the animation, I enjoy that I can move while casting this spell, and I'm using it when my skills are on cooldown or when the situation doesn't force me to use additional spells. So that's the first one I use. It's perfect for grouping up those monsters and then, for example, releasing more serious AoE damaging spells. Second one is combination of Enervate and Earthen Grip. First one is a mana burning skill, good for PvP. Second, deals damage and immobilizes your target. If you cast Earthen Grip on targets that's under Enervate spell effect, you will get extra health from it, because 141% of damage dealt will be brought back to you as health. This combination was nerfed several times during the patching of the game and as those new versions were released, but it's still a good thing to have, especially in terms of PvE. It's also a lifesaver in some of those PvP situations, especially small scale 1 versus 1 PvP. You might still want to have this combination available and use it. Next skill I'm using is Mana Force. Mana Force is a skill that deals damage, pushes your target away and grants you half of dealt damage back in form of mana. So that's a good PvE filler, especially if you have, limited resources to regenerate your mana. It's worth to have it, and it's also a really good combination with Bubble Trap if you decide to use it. You put Bubble Trap on your target and then get under the target. Use Mana Force to push your target high in the air. Your target will take damage from falling. And now we proceed to more advanced combinations. We have Hell Spear and Summon Crows. So Hell Spear is a immobilizing skill. It deals damage and gives you your target impale status. They will not be able to move for a moment. Then you proceed with Summon Crows, which will decrease their accuracy, deal extra magic damage and inflict poison if your target is still on impaled status. That's also a moment to cast Crippling Mire under hotkey number 7 in my case. Crippling Mire gives you damage over time plus slow on your target, and if your target is under poison effect, he will get an additional 30% damage. And also, if your target is under distressed status, after your Crippling Mire ends, your target will be stunned. That's why on number 8 you are seeing Boastful Roar, which is distressed status for 7 seconds, decreases move speed minus 45%, skill damage minus 20%, attack speed minus 250 and healing effectiveness minus 60%. Also deals damage equal to 60% of your stacked metal. Number 9 on my shortcut is Revitalizing Cheer. It restores your health, some amount of health plus 50% of your stacked metal. It's your healing potion more or less, and to generate metal you need to use following skills on my shortcut, which is Toughen and Refreshment. Toughen increases your regeneration, health regen for 20 seconds. If you are under Toughen effect and you cast Boastful Roar will deal 60% increased damage. Second skill is Refreshment. For duration of the skill, which is around 30 minutes, you will increase your max health, and once you are hit by enemy target, you gain 10% of received damage as stacks of metal. So those two are to generate metal. If you combine two of them, you will generate it faster. So those were skills that I was able to invest into when I was around level 36. I've also decided that since I'm using two-handed weapon that deals magic damage, I will focus a bit more offensively and invest my remaining skill points into passives in Occultism 3. And those were Reprisal, which increases melee, ranged and magic critical rates plus 20% for 9 seconds after receiving critical damage. Another skill, which is called Macabre Reach, increases melee, ranged and magic critical damage plus 10%. That's permanent, you don't have to even get hit to activate it. Then we have Overpowered Spell Locus, increases all skill damage plus 15% up for 6 seconds after receiving a damage. Movement cancels the effect. This one is tricky, so pretty much if you are being attacked and you feel like you can stand still because you can take this kind of damage, then stand still to keep this skill, this passive activated, and you will deal additional 15% damage. That's great. Another one is Intensified Harm, increases melee, ranged and magic critical damage plus 25% for 6 seconds after receiving critical damage. So it's an excellent filler to Reprisal, they work together. That's great, but you need to get hit by a critical strike to activate the skill set. And last one is Death Beaconing, increases cooldown of all occultism skills minus 20%, which is, I think, justified because I'm using a lot of occultism skills, so if they, they are available for me, it's better for me. And it gives your Crippling Mire a buff. It affects additional 2 targets and grants stack of Burning Brand for each enemy if it hits beyond the first. So you can use Crippling Mire to deal damage to 3 targets at one moment. It's really good in terms of PvE and farming, because I was able to send my pet on one target, lure in additional 2 targets, use Crippling Mire to affect 3 of them, and then start using AoE spells to finish them off quickly. To be able to unlock every passive in Occultism 3, you will need to give 1 more skill point into it. In my case it was Absorb Life for skill, but I wasn't satisfied with it, that's why it didn't end up on my shortcut, but I was too lazy to change it. I didn't have a good idea what kind of additional skill would be good for me in already good build. It was working fine, so I wasn't using it, and it was somewhere in the background. That's my suggestion if you want to be a Defiler since level 10 and you want to level up fast. So this is good build for PvE with some PvP addition, as long as you are not overwhelmed. And of course some of those classes, they are like your natural counters. Early game Dark Runners, Primevals, Stone Arrows, they might be dangerous for you, so remember that. But other than that, I think it's a pretty solid build. Should be really good build until you reach level 50, and then you will want to switch to more 1 versus 1 oriented version of tanky Defiler instead of offensive Defiler. And of course you will switch from staff to scepter and shield then. That's my early ArcheAge 3.0 Defiler build. I hope you will find it useful if you decide to try it out and level up your Defiler if you aren't level 50 yet. And let me show you some more of those screaming dwarfs that were silly enough to get in my way while I was leveling with this build. Of course, don't forget to hit the like button, comment or subscribe. See you later and enjoy the rest of the video.